Seats. Having been informed by the town clerk, we have a quorum. I declare the meeting open for business. A couple of very quick preliminary things. I do want to remind, especially some of the town meeting members that may not know, we are supposed to start at 7:30, and that was not directed at the new town meeting members. What I was going to say was we are supposed to start at 7:30, but we cannot start the meeting until we have a quorum. The clerk has to, you'll watch her feverishly making counts over there. We have to reach that quorum of 140 members. And so I would just urge you all to do your best. You know, certainly tonight, this is better than the last two nights. So certainly tonight we clearly have the opportunity to wrap up business and not have to drag you out on what will probably be another beautiful day on Monday. Okay, with that, I did delay some of quick reports from Monday night. We have enough that goes on when we open our meeting. And we're going to start off by having a very quick report by the Fire Study Committee. And I'm looking for Mr. Morash. Oh, excuse me. No, actually, we have three very quick reports. Yes, ma'am, you're recognized. This is from our Board of Health.
Point of order, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah.
On page 8 of the town warrant, it discusses the American with Disabilities Act, which I've had numerous conversations over the years regarding town meeting. And it's critical that people who are town meeting members at a public hearing adhere to the American with Disabilities Act. Because I have been outspoken regarding this issue, because it is so deadly to me, I have now been approached by several other town meeting members. Anything from the back of the room cannot hear half of what has been said the last 2 evenings, and that's why I'm speaking directly into the microphone. They told me, when you go up there, please speak into the microphone.
It wasn't me.
No.
They could hear me?
I believe they could hear you,
okay.
But they said that for the last 2 nights, they really were not able to hear too well. That does bring up the situation with the fans. I am very grateful to the Milton Public Schools and Bill Ritchie each year since this disability was brought to your attention, as well as to Town Council and the Selectman's Office. Bill Ritchie has gone out of his way. I know that the fans do make a noise. However, this year I asked Bill, I said the big fan was making too much of a noise apparently and people were unplugging it. So Bill went out of his way to get 2 smaller fans. So what I would ask you, Mr. Moderator, is that the fans be allowed to remain on. And more importantly than that, the individuals who get migraines are more than 1 or 2. And since they've asked me to speak, because I have been the vocal one, the situation where the article addresses the American with Disabilities Act and call the selectmen, it really should say call the town's ADA coordinator, because that's what a town with this many employees has, an ADA coordinator to make sure that the needs of the disabled are addressed. The situation where the first year it came up, signs were posted, and you had asked people to try to stay on this side of the auditorium. And those signs have not been here for the last 2 years. So that people who do get migraines, you know, one woman actually told me she had stopped being a town meeting member and she's come back again due to what the chemicals, it's not about fragrances. I guess I'll turn this way because the moderator has asked us to speak to the audience even though we are addressing the moderator. And the issue with the language, it says strong fragrances. Has nothing to do with the strength of the fragrance. It doesn't have anything to do with how you smell. It literally has to do with the chemicals. And the European Association is working strongly to have the companies that create these fragrances remove the carcinogenic products. And while I shouldn't have to stand up here and publicly disclose my disability, after going to all 8 hospitals in Boston because no one could figure out why I was going into a shutdown coma, which some of my lovely enemies in the room may love to hear about, I had to go to the Mayo Clinic. And it was immediate. As soon as I walked into the Mayo Clinic, it's obvious. You are the canary in the coal mine. Your body reacts to every carcinogenic product. And a lot of people get migraines from those carcinogenic products, but more so than that, they get cancers. So when we
Mrs.
talk
Agostino,
about
Mrs.
master
Agostino,
plans,
So I'm empathetic with your situation, as I'm sure the town meeting members are, but to hopefully to wrap up your point of order,
Yes.
so we've got to be careful about the signs, and you're reminding town meeting members to be more sensitive, and we'll leave those fans on.
leave the fans on. The other thing is to please speak into the microphones, and as I do want to finish this comment, people who are disabled do not have to identify what their disability is. So getting back to my position with you, Mr. Moderator, I respectfully requested Monday night, Tuesday night. Monday, I was actually verbally accosted by a fellow member. So I understand you have very much to do tonight, but there are a lot of people with maybe even worse disabilities than mine due to carcinogenic products. So that's why I rose tonight and publicly stated that I trust next year we can work with this, with the whole town council, selectmen's, as well as yourself, and have a meeting to discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Agostino did mention something to me Monday night, and before the meeting, with all the things I have going on at the beginning of the meeting, I did forget to include it, so my apologies. And now I recognize
Caroline Kinsella from the Milton Board of Health. I'm the Health Director. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening to the Board of Selectmen, School Committee, Warrant Committee, and Town Meeting members. On behalf of the Board of Health, I'm delighted to let you know that we have applied for and received a $110,000 three-year grant to the recently established Milton Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. The grant was awarded by the Blue Hills Community Health Alliance and was written as a volunteer effort by Town Meeting member Laurie Stillman, with assistance from myself, Deborah Milbauer, the Board of Health, my colleagues in the Board of Health, and staff of the Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, Milton. Thank you. Thank you. Substance abuse, including misuse of alcohol, prescription drugs such as painkillers, and illicit drugs such as heroin and cocaine, take a huge toll on our families and on society. These many forms of substance abuse are a growing epidemic and is found in people of all ages, including the elderly, but often begins in adolescence. People who abuse drugs and alcohol often have associated mental health disorders, but because of the stigma and the dearth of services, they often hide their issues and don't get the help they need. Milton is not immune to these problems, far from it. From the limited data we have available, we know that these issues exist in our community, and in fact, we have significantly higher rates compared with state averages in both young and old alike. We cannot ignore it and hide from these problems. We must confront and address them. The Milton Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition was started this year, co-chaired by myself and Vicki McCarthy, Youth Counselor Emeritus. We are just getting off the ground, but we have representatives from town government, such as the police, Council on Aging, Park and Rec, from the schools, both the faculty and students. We have clergy, concerned residents of all ages and backgrounds, and those that are in recovery. We are poised and ready to make a difference together. Our grant program, called Milton Cares, will allow us to grow the capacity of our coalition to promote new policies, programs, and services to reduce the incidence and impact of substance abuse and mental disorders in our town, and to make it easier for those afflicted to pursue recovery. We'll be holding community-wide educational programs, providing trainings, and making resources available to the schools to implement preventive programs. Next year, we will launch a website so that our residents will have easier access to information and services. We invite you to become part of our coalition and encourage you and your families to avail yourselves to our educational programs. If you would like to learn more, I encourage you to come to our next meeting on Wednesday, May 27th at 7 p.m. at BID Hospital, Milton. Anyone and everyone is encouraged to attend. If you'd like to be on our mailing list, contact me at ckinsella@townofmilton.org. We want to thank our partners who provided letters and other expressions of support that made this grant possible. Mary Gormley, on behalf of the Milton Public Schools, Anne Marie Fagan, on behalf of town government, Reverend Hall Kirkham, on behalf of the Milton Interfaith Clergy Association, Amy Nashbar, Mike Lynch, and Frank Schroth from Milton Media, Representative Walter Timilty, and finally, Bob McChrystal and Lisa Browdy from BID Milton Hospital. The Milton Cares grant will enable us to work together to take care of our Milton community. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Costello.